people? Hope everyone is doing good. A bit of a different video today. We've got some news about a certain position in the club that needs filling. And this stuff excites me because it's progression. It's the vision of what the club could look like. I'm not saying this is true. I'm not saying this will happen. That's not the point of this. I'm just giving out information that I've found in the last few hours about this particular person. And this particular person is Samir Arabi, who is said by, I think it came from Sky Sports Germany, to become the director of football or sporting director at Leeds United, assuming next season. Now, again, I'm going to go into some detail about this guy and what he's done and stuff like that, and the good and some things that might not look great. But I think the key thing is, and this is what I keep mentioning about what I've experienced, what many others experience in workplaces, is alignment. The key point is everyone needs to be aligned. That's the key. Every single person who's part of a team has to have the same ideas, the same mindset to deliver the goal, right? It's about being aligned. It's about efficiency, doing everything well, doing everything to the top level, doing everything efficient. Everyone has to be aligned. And I think it's clear to say, although the people that higher ups in the club are obviously very good people, very talented people, there was obviously some disalignment with the manager, clearly. He even mentioned in his press conferences, he gets given the names, then he decides yes or no, and then the higher ups decide whether financially it's viable. And we didn't bring the players in he wanted. And he mentioned those players several times and went into detail about the profiles, which is interesting. But there's got to be alignment. That's key, especially going into the Premier League. You need a certain identity of recruitment that you're looking for, certain regions, certain types of players, and everyone needs to be on that same wavelength. And I feel like with this, if this is true, and it might not be, let me clarify, this is that kind of vision that you can see. Obviously, Samir was at Arminia Bielefeld, currently in the third tier in Germany. There's definitely been ups and downs there. Definitely been ups and downs. Now, again, you've got to look at the club, the budgets, the actual how much they did overachieve initially. Now, they got promoted in the 1920 season, and I think it's fair to say they absolutely destroyed the league. Also, didn't necessarily have one of the biggest squad values or biggest budgets either in that division. And I think that's the key thing. When they got promoted to the Bundesliga, they absolutely destroyed the league. And actually, if you look at their teams, there's not really many names in there that go, wow. You look at a lot of the signings throughout the years, you look at a lot of the deals and the budget that he's got, a lot of it is below $1 million. A lot of it is free transfers, loan deals, and that always makes it difficult. You have to be a lot more resourceful. You have to be a lot more kind of technical with what you try and bring in, who you bring in, and that's always difficult. And to achieve that, although they had a good squad, but to dominate Bundesliga 2 and get promoted to the Bundesliga based on that is crazy. Like I'll be putting graphics up on the screen of what happened in that season and what they did, because it's really impressive. But then not only that, following get promoted, they actually managed to survive in the league, in the Bundesliga, the first season. And again, it's overachievement, right? Because realistically, once you get promoted, you're not really expected to, that's the way it works. And you can look at the squad value again when they're in the Bundesliga, and it's by far one of the lowest, if not the lowest in the league. I can't remember. I'll put the graphic up. By far. And the fact that they managed to stay up, not really comfortably, but they stayed up, is a massive achievement in my opinion. That shows how resourceful you can be. And if you look at the money they spent when they went up, not a lot at all. Not a lot. They actually sold some good players. And then the season after, they did spend a little more. We're talking around 9 million, which again isn't a lot. They didn't stay up. They went down, and that's kind of where things took a turn. And they got back-to-back relegations. You're kind of seeing that with Luton at this point. That can happen. I don't know the details about it. I've not had so much research on this, I'll be honest, about what happened, why that is. But if you just look at the expenditure list, they lost players, a lot of them. They didn't really spend. They couldn't really spend to recuperate that. And I just feel like that method of bringing in constant free transfers or loan deals in any situation is risky, because one time you just won't have the players, you won't have it, and it will fail, and that is what happened. It seems, but they had success. They got it quickly. They managed to stay in the Bundesliga. And the season after, only spending £9 million, it's going to be difficult for anyone. That's what happened. Now, and again, and you think of this guy and you probably think, you know, Germany, German players, German markets. That's the angle we're going through. Now, what's key is in the article on Sky Sports Germany, they mentioned how they want that he will come in to work closely aligned with Farke, and that's what I mentioned earlier. Clearly, there is an angle towards Germany. Clearly, Daniel Farke wants more power in decision-making of players. Now, like I said, he used to be a director of football, did Daniel Farke, and he did do a bit of this at Norwich, with mixed results, I will say, to be fair. They weren't always great, and some of his players that he brought in, apparently, didn't work out. But again, I reiterate, they're doing it with no budget. And having someone that's worked at places where you have to work with little, believe me, it is so difficult. So difficult. No budget or very little budget compared to everyone around you, you naturally have a huge disadvantage. So I think the idea is looking at the process of things, what they do, how they look for players, what ideas they have about where they should sign players from, what they did, previous clubs, and aligning that with the same ideas together. Everyone's on the same wavelength, everyone's looking for the same plan, the same type of players, and that's the idea. With money, you can get that upper echelon of player. That's the key, because you've got to be competitive, and alignment is huge. In my opinion, alignment is everything. Every person in that team has to be aligned, have the same ideas. Now, not only has he obviously been from Germany, he has a good and extreme knowledge of that league. But actually, that's not the only league he's bought players from. You can actually look at the players they brought in each season, which will pop up. And yeah, there's players there from the Swiss Super League, which is, look at players like Alvin Sanchez, for example, players like that. There is some top talent in the Swiss League, top young talent. There really is. Obviously, the Bundesliga goes without saying. Robin Hack is a great example. One or two Japanese internationals in there as well who are doing really well in the championship, in the Bundesliga. 2 or 3 players who are doing well in the Bundesliga now. Players are doing well in France. He's brought players in from France, like I just said. Austria as well, some talent from there. So it's not only Germany. There is areas around Germany, and of course, these people know more than we think. He will know people in Italy and Spain. It's about experience. It's about learning contacts and finding players. And like I said, it's about giving these people the right money to be competitive. Because what he has shown in his career, regardless of what went wrong, like I said, I'm not a fan of the club. I'm not going to get into that. I don't know. But he did a lot with little. And that shows that you're resourceful. And that's difficult in football. So yeah, that's all I've got for this. Don't know what it means, don't know what it is, but I like this one because I like stuff like this and it's interesting to me. Hope everyone enjoyed. I'll see everyone in a bit. Yeah, pleasure. Bye-bye.